All right, so here we go. Yes, the Stalker 2 dev team worked overtime and answered basically every question under the sun about Stalker 2, including how long is the game's main story? How does the respawn and death system work in the game? What about technicians, unique upgrades, weapon, and progression? How does higher difficulties impact the game world? And how in-depth is the faction system in the game? Can you explore every single building in the game? Can you remove the annoying yellow paint on the ladders that tell you where to go? What about drivable vehicles, player bases, and what about the stealth system? Can you modify the HUD to be HUDless? So many questions answered. And don't forget, I'm doing a very big Stalker 2 giveaway for a chance to win a copy of the game. See the top pinned comment down below. So let's get straight into this. This comes from their official Discord. So let's go to the first question. Check it out right here. Does the higher difficulty levels affect the loot table? For example, will there be less ammo on bodies and stashes, making for more tactical gameplay and resource management? And the response is this: higher difficulty equals less loot in general. So you're going to have to be more cautious, it seems, about your ammo, your weapon's durability, that sort of thing, moving throughout the zone. And we have, will there be more impactful decision system? I mean, where something you do in quest can lead to, for example, destroying a faction, or smaller things like changing trader items, giving you new dialogue options you wouldn't have otherwise, etc. And the response is for sure. So yes, it seems to be that there is quite an extensive system there under the hood, so beware of what you actually do in the game. And also, will leveling up be a thing in this game? I know SOC and CS base that off of increasingly better equipment over time, but COP, shook things up by offering perks earned throughout achieving certain outcomes in the game story. Will Stalker 2 replicate COP's system, revert it to the first system, or offer a new system of making Skiff a stronger Stalker? And the response is a simple no. Do not expect that in this one. Alright, next up we also have, will safe zone stashes be connected like a shared stash, similar to its work in Resident Evil? And the answer is yes. That is very good news right there. It'll make the game a lot more manageable with those stashes. And also, will loot in stashes and containers, I remember refrigerator being opened, be randomized between playthroughs, or is it all preset loot? Great question. And the answer is some is set, most are randomized. So there you go. Anyway, back to this. It says, does loot that is picked up eventually respawn, seeing as the game is taking a more open world direction? Here's the response. Kind of complex question. Some of the possible loot you may get is sustainable. Something will be unique. So it seems like sometimes you'll find this item that is absolutely extremely rare, and it will not kind of refresh in the world. Once you pick it up, and that is it. You cannot go out and say, like, farm it. It's going to be extremely unique one-time pickup. And it seems like there's going to be more common loot that will be perhaps farmable in the game. All right, next up we have, will there be an option to turn off the yellow guide markings, yellow wall markings, yellow ladders that lead to the objective, etc.? And the answer is this: yes. And I know I saw a thread out on Reddit where the community was absolutely thrilled by this. This has been actually kind of a discussion within the gaming community. We've seen some open world games that really kind of double down and overdo it on these sort of guides. So it's great to know that you can actually toggle that off. Also, check it out. Will we be able to interact with the world much? Turning lights, candles on and off, turning the radio on and off, etc. And yes, expect some things to be completely interactable in the game. And mentioning radio stations, check it out. Are we going to have an in-game radio that we could play in our PDA or HOC? And the response is yes, you could play in bars or wherever you find a radio. So there you go. And what's next? So we have, is there a detailed crafting system in the game? Can you craft med supplies, ammo, etc.? And the answer is no, we won't have such a system, which might actually surprise some of you on that one. And we also have, will we be able to sell trade damaged guns with low durability, or will we have to repair them first before selling like in the original games? And the response is you cannot sell extremely damaged guns under 40% durability, so don't expect to be doing that sort of thing at all. Furthermore, we have this one right here. Why is a day in Stalker 2 so short, only 60 minutes of real time, while in the shadow of Chernobyl, a day lasts 2 hours and 40 minutes? And the answer is simple. As you know, before the end of the world, time will speed up. So think about it. So this might actually end up being some sort of interesting gameplay mechanic. I'm not going to read into it too much and speculate too much, but let me know if you guys are fine with the hour cycle. And we have this. Let me zoom it in. It says, how much different Is stealth in Stalker 2 from the first 3 games? For example, is there anything like dedicated animation for stealth melee kills? And furthermore, tools and weapons dedicated to stealth. And yes, there are dedicated animations. Didn't really confirm anything about the weapons there, but I would imagine that, yeah, there would be. Now, we also have, I know reputation between factions will matter a lot in story mode, and I know killing one from that faction will make them dislike me. If I kill, let's say, a random solo duty soldier with no one around, will the whole faction, hate me? And the response is simple. It has a weighting system to be logical. So it looks like it depends on who you kill. If you're gonna kill like a leader, a high-ranking individual, they would probably notice that has happened and maybe go after you. But when it comes to more stragglers or some random, guards, and no one sees that happen, you might be able to get away with it. I'm assuming that's the answer. Also, we have, will it be possible to change the FOV, the field of view? And the answer is yes. I know that's always a big deal for many of you, so that's good to know. And how will the day-night cycle affect the world of Stalker 2? Will there be certain moments where Skiff is better off exploring in the dark and in the light? And yes, it's going to come down to tactical preferences and NPC behavior. So it sounds like NPCs will also be changing their tune when based on day or night. Also, will there be the ability to sit down and just listen to the campfires, everyone gathered around? And the answer is yes. This sort of thing I really appreciate and love. It's such a simple detail because it gives you some downtime. You can make your own downtime, relax, chill. Love that sort of thing. Says, assuming you don't complete any of the side quests and focus on the main story, how long is the game going to be? And the response is this from Molt, who says this, tough to say, depends on your skills and how good you know the game, the difficulty, etc. 30 plus hours is what I would say a very rough estimate. And I believe he's talking specifically about when it comes to the main story, of course. And I think there's going to be a lot to do with the side activities, exploring this world. I think there's going to be a lot of replay value in here. Plus, there's going to be those multiple endings to consider as well. Are there any form of reputation or rank system in the game? This is an interesting answer. It says, kind of. Rest is under NDA. Man, that definitely piques my curiosity, so I'm curious to see where this one goes. Also, we have developer deep dive series, back to the deep dive video. Maria Grovovich also said freedom is the DNA of Stalker 2, hence how much of the interiors of the game will be enterable, percentage-wise, approximately percentage, please. And the response is most of them, so no percentage there. It'd be tough to nail down a percentage, so it's cool to note that yes, what you're seeing here, most of these buildings are enterable, it seems. Also, we have, will there be drivable vehicles in Stalker 2? And the answer is no. Which, you know what, I'm down for. I think it's going to be a lot of fun trying to get through this, wasteland. I think driving a vehicle would actually draw attention to you and would be deadly. So I could see why that wouldn't be something that you would have in the zone. All right, we have, will there be quick location transitions in the game? That is fast travel. And the answer is yes, if you pay money to the guides. So it's going to cost you. It's not going to be something where you could just be zipping around the map willy-nilly without any type of, I guess you would say, consequence. You're going to have to pay to get around. Kind of like have a fixer to guide you through the environment, which I love. All right, next up we have dynamic weather in day and night, yes or not? And the answer is yes, the game will have a day-night cycle and the weather can change. Hell yes, we've seen that evident in a lot of the gameplay trailers. And let me tell you what, the weather looks fantastic. Next up, it says, will there be player bases or a unique location for the player to make their own personal living area? This is a no to base building, but you will have your own personal convenient stash. More on the stash here, so let's get into it. Here's another question that kind of relates. It says, will we have the ability to make our own stashes? Or is there preset stash locations where we can claim to put our loot? And will NPCs be able to loot stashes we have? The answer is simple. You will have preset stashes at hubs in convenient places like near the trader. They won't be looted. So you can have a sigh of relief. Your loot will be safe. But you know what? Mentioning traders, let's talk about technicians. This, will there be technicians like the later games, or will we have to use anomalies to repair our armor like in Shadow of Chernobyl? And the response is simple. Technicians will be happy to help you for your money. So yes, always comes down to, do you have the bread? Have you been earning out there? And then it says, how will weapon and outfit upgrades work in Stalker 2? Do we have to find the tools to give them to technicians first and then do the upgrades? Or can we upgrade them to the highest tier without the tools, but maybe pay a lot more than we would if we had the tools? Here's the response. You will be able to install the most basic upgrades by just paying money to technicians. More complicated upgrades might require additional steps. Seems like they want you to work for those like more rare upgrades and, abilities or items and stuff. And we have how in-depth is the weapon modifications? Is it just like an add a suppressor and sight, or is it more Tarkov style where you can fine-tune certain parts of your weapon? Here's the response. Weapon modifications will allow you to fine-tune your favorite weapons according to your preferences. So to me, it sounds like it's going to be pretty in-depth. We've already seen some signs that the weapon modification system looks really, really good, because we've seen like the ability to add a shotgun underbarrel to a sniper rifle. That seems pretty cool. You don't see that like too often in game. So yeah, that's awesome. Next up, we have, will the game still feature repeatable job missions to undertake as side activities? This was crucial to the economy before. Here's the response. The game has repeatable quests from traders. You will recognize their system. So that's cool to know. And it seems like they're kind of keeping intact what you guys know and love from the previous game for sure. And we have, will we have the character stats section in the inventory again? Chem protection, rad protection, burning protection, and bullet protection, etc. And yes, you can look at them on your suit inventory. Those are going to be super important to surviving the zone. And then we have, of course, this question. Will the game have restricted areas, regions at the start of the game? The game has 20 regions, so will I be able to go straight to CNPP at the start of the game, as example, or there will be some sort of restriction that will prevent me from entering certain regions because it's too early? And the response is kind of a tease. It says you can try to go, which to me sounds like might not be the best idea. You might be running into perhaps what would be considered like very difficult enemies. You might have to take a step back and prepare a little bit more when entering some of these areas. That would be really, really cool. I kind of always love that when you run into a challenge, you have to kind of like pause. Maybe you get defeated and then you have to be like, how do I get through this? And you have to kind of think a way around it, which I would not be surprised if this game presents to us like several times over as we try to explore the zone. And we have the map fragments show many water areas, rivers, and lakes. Will it be possible to swim in the game? Will it be possible to touch this water at all? Or will it always be fenced off with something? And the response is this: it's not a good idea to jump into radioactive water. You have been warned. In fact, it says all lakes, ponds, and other water are just too radioactive. Makes sense. Again, we're in the zone. Will NPCs be able to use the knife or any melee attacks during a fight in Stalker 2? Yes, they do use melee attacks, and we did see this in some of the gameplay trailers as well. But what about your character when it comes to melee weapons? Great question. Will Stalker 2 have a good variety of melee weapons like katanas? Nope, katanas are not going to be in the game, and that would kind of like be kind of strange considering the game's location. So I'm okay with the fact that, yeah, no katanas would be in the game here. And we have, will you be able to drag bodies? Yes, you will be able to, and even loot them as well. This is something that seems like it's no big deal, but I do think that this sort of feature is extremely important. Do any of you that want to play stealthy? If it's not in the game, it just makes the stealth system completely underwhelming. We have seen games do that a little bit more recently, where they kind of like, you don't need to be able to move bodies. So it's good to see that in this game. Also, most interactable objects in DD was marked with yellow paint. It's an understandable solution, but I personally would like to turn it off. It's not an element of UI, so is it possible? And yes, there are many settings you can change. You can even turn off the HUD and its parts for better immersion as well. So yes, once again, that is excellent news to also be able to adjust that HUD to really minimize it. I know when I played also like Metro Exodus, I shut off absolutely everything, even the reticule in the middle of the screen. I was like, hell no, I'm gonna like force myself to like have to aim down sight, to really make it super realistic. I highly recommend that sort of thing. It just adds so much immersion to a game like this one and Metro. But anyway, back to this, will we be able to add custom markers or notes to our PDA map, like to mark dangerous areas or spots to come back to? And the answer is yes. And a great question about the map. It says, can I have a mini map in the corner instead of the Skyrim Fallout bar at the top? And the answer is, to check the map, you will need to open the PDA, which I'm down for. It just makes it far more realistic. You have to be mindful of your location and perhaps even make note of where you are using landmarks. That just ups the immersion factor of a game like this. And it says, hello, when you die, will you see the message lost to the zone? And the answer is yes, and a total number of death in your playthrough. But we also have kind of like a follow-up question here. So death screen will have the total number of deaths shown. What happens when the number exceeds the counter? Is there a prize for dying too much? And the answer is, honest answer is that I do not know. But I'm going to say death will probably be pretty commonplace for the newcomers of the series, especially. So be prepared for it. It's going to be happening. And then we have, can you get a pet dog? Great question. No true companionship in the zone. You're going to go it alone. And, you know, it's likely your dog would probably die pretty quickly anyway. So, yeah. Also, it says, can you slide down ladders instead of slowly climbing down? And the response is, you can jump from the ladder and take fall damage. This is how I died for the first time in the game, actually. Okay, so that is very good to know before heading into this game. Be mindful of fall damage in this one. This is not going to be arcadey whatsoever. Will there be magic binoculars that identify the standing of NPCs like the originals, neutral, hostile? Response is this: if someone attacks you, you will see the red markers on the compass. Didn't exactly answer the question there, but did clarify on how that system works with the compass notifying you of being attacked at least. In Stalker 2, will the friendly NPCs seek shelter during an emission or psi storm? And yes, NPC will try to survive the emission. They are not death-seeking slayers, at least most of them. So it does sound like they will be aware of that sort of thing. And we also have this one, which I translated for you guys. So it says, in the recent pre-order bonus update, I noticed that the multiplayer mode of the game uses unique costumes, and it will be considered the possibility for the player to choose the color of his favorite group for these suits, because I would not really like to walk, for example, in the exoskeleton of Barta. I would like to wear monolith camouflage. Answer is this. This is under NDA. This makes me extremely curious. If you did not know, there is going to be a multiplayer mode after release, and it is going to be a free update, and there's still a lot of mysteries behind that one, definitely. And may I ask if it's accurate to say the weapons and equipment from the pre-order bonuses, meaning firearms and armor, with or without the backpack skin, will be placed in stashes that require completing short tasks to obtain specific coordinates, or can be directly sought out sometime after the game begins, once the coordinates are known. Just making sure I don't give the wrong answer when others ask me these questions. Here's the response. Yes, you will need to actually find them in the zone. So they will be scattered around the zone, which I think is cool. They kind of still make you work for them, but they're there. And it says, hi, I'm wondering how the pre-order content will work. Is it just a skin, or at the start of the adventure will be added to the player's inventory? Unique weapons and equipment will be able to find once again in the zone, and some additional content for Campfire as well. And will the extra side quest be included in the season pass or a future DLC update that you can buy after the game is released, or will be only for pre-orders? Kind of a bummer to say that's a pre-order exclusive. Yeah, you know, it is just like a pre-order side mission. I think if you miss out on it, it's going to be no big deal at the end of the day. If you decide to like hold off and want to see how this game pans out, you know, at release, makes sense if you're cautious. But yeah, don't like hold your breath and be all panicked about FOMO and stuff like that. All right, so we have, will there be a way to view different character monster models, maybe through something like an in-game model showcase? The detail looks absolutely incredible, and I'd love to take a closer look at them all. Thank you. Don't think we have such an option in-game. Would have been cool, you know, like Skyrim, Fallout, to be able to see that. But yeah, that's still, I guess that would be some work to do. And it says, can we discuss the accessibility options for the disabled in the game? What will they be? We're going to have a full options section dedicated to accessibility settings, such as colorblind settings and similar things. In addition, it will be possible to use Xbox Adaptive Controller, so that is excellent to know right there. And we have, do you support DLSS 3 frame generator? Obviously, and they do support it, of course. And also, are the system requirements listed accounted for native resolutions, or is upscaling also involved? There is some controversy about this. Here is the answer. To achieve similar performance on the specified PC characteristic, you should use TSR upscale technology for minimum settings. To achieve the specified performance at medium, high, and epic settings, DLSS, TSR, and their analogs should be used. The more you know. Also, we have Steam preload win. 160 gigabytes is no joke because not everyone has fast internet. Unfortunately, they do not have a preload for PC, which does suck. Yeah, that's the bad news. And then we also have, how will the saving system work in HOC? We'll be able to use quick save and hard save manual in the menu. Additionally, will we have multiple quick saves like in the mod, Fall of Chernobyl, or just one repeatedly overwritten quick save? And the answer is you can do quick saves and hard saves. You can have multiple quick saves stored at the same time. You'll even have separate save boxes for different playthroughs. That's a great answer right there. So that's pretty good news. And hey, GSC, will Stalker 2 support ultra wide resolution, especially 32:9 at launch? The answer is yes, we support 16:9, 21:9, 32:9, and 16:10 for example. Hopefully it runs good on all of those options. Again, guess we'll be finding out on the 20th. Hello, my question is, Xbox players will be able to play with mouse and keyboard? And the answer is yes, you will also be able to do that as well. So for those of you that are on Xbox, you can celebrate that one. Will you be able to upgrade the digital standard edition to higher editions on Steam? They did respond saying we are planning to have such options a bit later. So that's not going to be at launch. So if you did want to do that, yeah, that will be possible. Will the English dub only include main character voice lines like an SOC, or will also include campfire chatter, combat voice lines, etc.? Everything is going to be included with this one. So you guys can be happy to hear that. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments. As always, leave a comment down below. You never know, it can end up right here in a future video. But let's do this. We have, it is Stalker. There's no bugs, only anomalies. Love it. Love that attitude. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a few bugs here and there at launch. I'm just saying. Then we have finished all 3 games yesterday and started Gamma today. People are overhyping everything. The Stalker community are waiting peacefully because they're already in the zone like myself. It just goes to show that the core community is very excited about this game, but they're also like very chill. They know what to kind of expect. They've been through it, through the launch, you know, of the first one. It was kind of in a more than a rough state, and then it turned into this like cult following, something very, very special. So I think we might be in for something similar here with this game. I'm really crossing my fingers that it's in a more playable state than the first one was in at launch. I mean, from what we're seeing, like even right now, it seems to be the case, but you know, we'll have to wait on the 20th. Now, also we have this. By the way, Metro was made by people that initially left GSC after a feud with the CEO somewhere in 2010. Ukrainians are very proud of both of those devs teams to this day. I did not know that. Dude, you have got to be kidding me. Wow, that's something else. You know, I've actually been in touch with GSC way in the past when they were making like Cossacks, American Conquest, that sort of thing. That was really cool. And to see how their company has evolved over the years, you know, it's pretty amazing. But I had no idea that that had actually happened. So, wow. Okay, so that's very cool now. All right, so it says, I'm getting so unbelievably hyped as my vacation nears just to play the shit out of this game. Talk about a well-deserved vacation. That's how you vacation right there. And we have, I remember watching over my dad's shoulder, calling out artifacts and bad guys whenever he did not see them when I was roughly 9 or 10. I think maybe I was a bit older, and now I'm 25, and we both have it pre-ordered, and I'm working on the trilogy on PlayStation at the moment. We are very excited about the game, bugs or not. Dude, that like hits me in the feels. That is awesome. Damn, this game has such like a history even within families. All right, so we have this right here. I doubt the game will run worse than a Bethesda game at launch. Yeah, you got that right there. I'm going to read one more here. We have this right here. People, we want photorealistic, ultra crisp looking graphics. Stalker devs, say no more. People, but why am I getting 20 frames per second on my GTX 1060 while I play on ultra? Dog shit optimization. Yeah, sometimes it's going to come down to the fact that unfortunately you have to do it. You have to upgrade some of your system or all of your system. And let me tell you what, it is not cheap anymore. Like I've already seen some of the theories and speculation around the 50 series graphics cards, the starting prices on those that are going to be happening in 2025. Dear God, good luck to everyone. That's all I gotta say. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more Stalker 2. I have you guys covered. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Take care.